Hello, Community Catalyst partners. At your end of grant convening, we're inviting you to tell stories to celebrate your work advancing racial justice and health equity this year. Through stories, we will witness the ups and downs and learn from each other in our work. So here's a quick tutorial on telling powerful stories, what I call narrative disruption, to support you in crafting your presentation for the meeting. But beyond that, these are just good tips for any storytelling that you do in your organizing work.
Powerful stories have three key elements. First, detailed moments. Stories have a context and then happen in a particular moment in time. So as you're telling stories, choose a moment to bring us into. First, let us know the big picture, the overview. Then dive into the particular. Let us know where you were, what was around you, what was happening. Use descriptive details to help us experience it. Here are two examples. First, we had been fighting for this bill for over a year, and it was getting stuck because 2 state reps were against it. Big context. So it comes to the final day of session, and 5 of us are standing in the huge marble foyer of the State House. Tom, Joe, Aya, Jody, and me. Right? Landing in a moment. Second, we have so many patients that come to us with overwhelming healthcare bills, and they're at their wits' end about how to pay. This one day, this woman, Jody, comes into my office, and I can tell that she's just in pain. Her shoulders are slumped, her hair is a bit messy, and her face has this tight, burdened expression. I welcome her in, and I know that this time we have to do something different. And then you could tell the specific story from there about what happened that day. These 2 examples situate us in the big context and then land us right in a moment. Notice how the tense switches naturally into the present tense. That's a helpful little trick for ensuring that we feel present in the story moment. But which moments do I share? Moments that matter. Moments that matter contain our deepest values, and they're moments in which we feel something.
The second key element to a powerful story is authentic emotions. Share what you felt during those narrative moments. We're often told to keep emotions out of leadership, but the real work of leadership is helping people respond to big emotions with agency rather than helplessness. It's an important leadership skill to share our authentic emotions with others, to show what we really care about and help guide others to what they care about too, in responsible ways, of course. In your story, share what you feel to help listeners understand your values. While your emotions may seem obvious to you because you experienced them, listeners may not pick up your emotional experience if you don't share it. In our example, the same moment could mean more than one thing. For example, Jody's shoulders are slumped, her hair is messy, and her face has this tight, burdened expression. I welcome her in. I can barely keep quiet today because I'm really excited to see her. I have to contain myself while I greet her calmly because I've got big news to tell her. We won. Or, Jody's shoulders are slumped, her hair is messy, and her face has this tight, burdened expression. I welcome her in. I find my own shoulders slumping, my face tightening, and my heart sinking. I'm feeling helpless and angry that there's nothing I can do for her today. Same moment, different emotions. The facts alone won't tell us enough. Over the course of a story, we experience multiple kinds of emotions, both positive and negative. It's really helpful to a story to have moments where you experience both tough emotions, a hurt, like anger, fear, exhaustion, and overwhelm, and positive emotions, like hope, joy, power, and gratitude. Why? Well, we've all felt both, and the work of leadership is to help people move through moments of pain into a sense of resiliency and agency. If you didn't experience pain, you wouldn't think the world needed changing. But if you didn't experience hope, you wouldn't think that you could change it. The same goes for your work, so share the moments of pain, the challenges, the overwhelm, because that's real and shows why the world needs changing. And share the hope, the resiliency, the joyful wins, because that's what keeps us going and reminds us that we can change it. We need both kinds of emotions in a story. You'll often find that emotions shift in the course of a story, and you can even build that shift into the story arc.
The third key element is story structure. Stories have a beginning, middle, and end. In the beginning, we set the context. Then something happens that's out of the ordinary. Something challenges us. Share with your listeners what you are confronted with, what you need to face, and what are the stakes that make it important. Next, we face the challenge through thought and action. That is, we make specific choices about how to deal with it. Those choices come from our values, so it's important to help the listener understand why we made the choice. Where does the hope, resiliency, or empowerment come from in that moment? Finally, our choices result in an outcome and a resolution. as well as in our learning. What impact did your choices have on the challenge you faced? What did that mean to you? This structure is really important. Take us through that story arc. What were you facing? Challenge. What did you do in the face of that? Choice. What happened and what did you learn? Outcome. Challenge, choice, outcome. Now, it can be tempting to erase moments or emotions when you work with the story structure. It can be tempting to say, Jody came into my office without any way to pay her bill, and together we worked through all the options, and because we'd won our lawsuit last year, we were able to help her adjust and find financial support. There's a challenge, choice, and outcome structure there, a beginning, middle, and end, but we've lost all the specific details and emotions. We've lost the moments. Instead, try this. Jody's shoulders are slumped, and her face has this tight, burdened expression. I welcome her in. I find my own shoulders slumping, my face tightening, and my heart sinking. I'm feeling helpless and angry. She's the 10th patient today without the ability to pay. Challenge. But then I remember the forum we had last week for organizing patients for HB 1299C and how energized the community was. I sit up a little taller in my chair. I tell Jody about the fire that was in that room that night and how the legislation we're fighting for could help her get the services she needs for free. Choice. We go to the next forum together, and the next, and the next, and I'll never forget 6 months later, Jody standing in front of the State House sharing her story with her shoulders tall to the last of the 2 legislators standing in our way. We won. I swelled with pride. Outcome. You should be able to really see each moment and each part of the story arc. The story arc is like the backbone or the frame that holds all the details and emotions together. If the arc is like the string of a necklace, each vivid, authentic moment is like a bead on that string, building the story and making it glow. So make sure to tell a story. Don't tell about a story. Now, the Jody examples I've used here are made up, just to demonstrate the framework and tools. You'll use your real examples, of course. So to review, the key elements of a powerful story are detailed moments, authentic emotions, and story structure. Detailed moments are those vivid sensory details that bring us into a specific moment. Authentic emotions, the real hurt and hope that you felt in those moments. And story structure, meeting a challenge, making meaningful choices in the face of it, and achieving a hopeful outcome. You've seen an example of how they each work, and now it's your turn to put them into practice. Before you do, a quick word about statistics and numbers. Those can be really helpful, of course, but we leave value on the table when we share data alone. Data can be made even more powerful with stories. Imagine saying after that Jody example, and there are 4,300 other Jodys in the state of Massachusetts that need our help right now. Data helps us see the magnitude, while stories help us care about the magnitude. So magnify your story through data and give your data meaning through story. You can use these tools for storytelling in any context. Stories about you and how you came to your work, stories about the power of the community you're working with to build solidarity, stories about what's urgent now and how we can face it, and stories about successes, impact, and lessons learned. Wherever you plan to tell stories, I know your stories will forge connection, share meaning, and lead to powerful collective action. As you craft your story for the celebration at Community Catalyst, I hope you'll use whichever tools and prompts are most useful to you to highlight the incredible impacts you've had this year. I look forward to celebrating you, and I can't wait to hear your stories.